right now, everybody.
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
It is time for Double D's sexy numbers. Everybody, Double D, take it away, buddy. What do we got going on?
Okay, so Aaron. So with statistics, we have one major rule, the number one rule, the golden rule, and that is we don't set out to prove anything, but we try to make predictions based on past performances, and hopefully we're correct. Sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're right. Most of the time we're right because we have good information. So the question that I have for here is, we have a number one contender match at Collision, and who's going to win that number with Kevin Smith? So who's going to face Kevin Smith at Collision? And we have two people right now. We have Marisol McKee and Janine the Machine. That's going to happen next week.
Right.
So, oops. Okay. So here is this infamous equation that I introduced last week, and it's basically a probability equation. And to simplify it, it's X minus the competitor's average, divide that difference with the competitor's standard deviation, we get Z. When you solve for that, you get Z. And we look up Z in a Z table, and that gives us our probability. And depending on what information we're looking for, we have to do some extra steps. But other than that, that's basically what we do. So you don't have to do anything. I promise. I've done all the work. It's exactly like high school for me.
Okay, perfect.
So the first thing up is the match that we're going to have. Marisol won her match against Video Drew. Can she defeat Janine and Kevin to get to that title match? The second thing is maybe Janine wins her match against Marisol. And I made a mistake with Video Drew, but ignore that. But can Janine beat Kevin Smith to get to that title match? So those are our two possibilities. There was a third one, but I X'd that for time. So based on this information, based on these two scenarios, who do you think is more likely to win?
Now, just so I'm clarified, I'm picking who's more likely to win between Marisol and Janine, or is Kevin included in this?
Marisol and Janine. Who's going to win?
Marisol. I think Marisol is more likely to win.
Okay. So let's do some math. Now, last week we used an opponent's median because it's the competitor's average, competitor's standard deviation. X is going to be last week was the opponent's median, which is basically a fancy way of saying the middle number of the data set.
Yes.
This week we're going to use the highest and lowest scores of the opponent. So for Marisol, it's Janine's highest score and Janine's lowest score, and the differences between that. So just to kind of clarify that.
Sure.
So for Janine, she has a 59% chance of scoring somewhere between Marisol's highest and lowest scores, and Marisol has a 77% chance of scoring somewhere between Janine's high and low scores. Now, you may be thinking, like, wait a minute, shouldn't it be like 41 or 23? This is kind of confusing. Well, let's go back to high school a little bit, and we're taking a test. Each of us has a possibility of getting 100% on that test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of us are going to get wrong, but if you get like a higher score, let's say you get a 95%, your results are not going to affect how I do on that test, correct? No. So that's why these numbers are not as even as it was last week. So think of it in terms of like score tests, but don't think of like 70% equals a C or 50% equals an F. Don't think like that. We're just equating like, okay, Marisol has a 70% chance of winning, doing better than Janine. That's basically who has the bigger number. That's all we're looking at.
Right.
So from this data, we're seeing that Marisol will win against Janine. Now, against Kevin Smith, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be the same thing. So who do you think is going to win in this matchup?
This one I think is a lot closer, but I actually lean towards Kevin Smith.
It's actually not, it's not close at all. And according to the past data, Kevin Smith has a 71% chance of winning. And yeah, Jay, yeah. And Marisol has a 36% chance at this. It's not good. Well, let's go with Kevin Smith and Janine. Who do you think has the better odds of winning?
I'd still favor Kevin.
Well, you're right. But oddly, it's actually 98% with Kevin Smith and 49% with Janine. So based on these results, it seems like Kevin Smith will probably win the #1 contender match. But Marisol, being the most likely candidate, she has the better chance, well, kind of the better chance because Kevin Smith is lower, even though Marisol's is a little bit lower than Janine's. I think Marisol has the best chance of actually beating Kevin, but honestly, I think Kevin Smith is going to win that match. But we'll have to wait and see till Collision to find that out. But you know what? Let's hear what Roxy has to say. What do you think, Roxy?
You had the sexiest numbers by far.
Thank you, Roxy. I love that. I appreciate that.
Yep, man, and she knows all about those sexy numbers too, guys.
Yep.
That's for not. I mean, I understood most of it, but I will be honest. There at the start, some of it went over my head, so
Yeah.
I was over here singing in the private chat, and what I typed in was just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took that midnight train going anywhere, and that was for you, Frenchie. I was thinking of you when I typed that in there, and I was serenading you, if you will.
Well, it's not because I have a jersey of Detroit, right? Did you want to serenade me? It has nothing to do with my jersey.
I don't even. I mean, now that you show me that's Detroit, I realize it, but I didn't really think about it. It was
subconscious, my friend, subconscious.
It was mostly because my fondest thoughts of you are at night when I'm laying in bed. Anyway, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's not so much for my taste. I mean,
why am I getting? Basically, say you fantasize about me, and then you kick me out. Really, Jay Wade?
Well, he does that to everybody, Frenchie. I mean, look what happened last week at Inter Alonso.
David, can you do me a favor? Can we get the sexy numbers on Jay's fantasies about Frenchie?
Oh, no, I'm not touching that. I'm backing up very slowly.
You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.